use today to maybe do lockdown, and then tomorrow with the rubber guard. And this will tie into everything we're kind of saying. Definitely with lockdown, I feel like I have a style for lockdown that this is pretty universally good for people. If you can do this basic movement set, you can do all the sweeps. There's nothing like crazy with it. With rubber guard, I play half guard style, New Jersey style. I don't play the full guard style, which is New York style. If you don't really know the difference, I'll explain some of that later. Because it gets me more on my side already and not squared up so easily. So I don't play a full rubber guard style, I would say, compared to a lot of guys, but I don't think anybody does. There's so much, and like your hips and your mindset and different things like that, the reps you got really make a difference on the right leg, left leg stuff. Not many people play it great on both sides. Only the really elite guys can kind of play both sides, but even most of them are right or left leg dominant overall. So you have to consider that stuff. And when I think about the relationship between the two, since they're both half guards in my mind, if someone is down and they're trying to be low towards my hips with their upper body and smashing, that's when I can do a little bit more of my rubber guard stuff. And if they're up trying to be really heavy chest to chest with me, that's when I can dig out the lockdown plays because they're giving access to their legs and stuff like that to me. And it really goes, back and forth with a few other kind of plays that go into there. You can mix in some butter half guard and different things like that kind of work with it. Mini stomp stuff. We can talk about a lot of that in there at the same time. But for your lockdown, the biggest thing everybody thinks is that you get the figure four set and you stretch them down and then you hold them in place and you don't really do much with it. And that is a very flawed style. Because really, like I said, you're locking yourself in place. You can't really move your hips when your legs are straight out. You're going to have to stay basically where you are and hope that they do something stupid in that way. There's been several names for the way that you're doing this, but the easiest way for me to explain it is we just call it a dip set, right? It's like whip up, suck, uppercut, duck, or something like that is the other way that people say it, which is the really classic way, and you would talk about doing it or whatever. But just calling it like the dip set. And so before we even do anything, the big difference is that when you're here, and whichever way you have your figure four, is that if I'm here, like I said, if I stretch my legs out straight, I'm flat, okay? But what I like to do is when I get these crossed, I'm up to get their weight above me, and I'm going over to the side, and then I would stretch down. And then my motion is pulling them back up, all the way across, and then over and down, up, over. What will be my outside leg is first, my inside leg is second, okay? And I push with the inside leg and the outside leg or whatever to the other one to make the connection. I don't disconnect my legs because now I don't have the lockdown anymore. I need this one to be pushing to that one, okay? And so, like I said, keeping my elbows tight here, but in reality, I've got body locking this guy already going for a bunch of different things that we're going to see. But for now, elbows tight, knee up, and he's going to stay on his hands. That's why he's not going to get the sweep. Over and then down. You see how his hips are kind of turning? He's having to hold all his weight into his hands. Up, over, and down. And he's having to make all these adjustments. And a lot of times right here, when you get them going, people don't really know how to move this well. And you can get an easy sweep right there. Or they don't know how to base this knee well, and it ends up getting really close to you, and you get that simple ass sweep off of it like that. But I really want it up here. I'm never down here and trying to shrink. That doesn't work. Every time I do this, I am pulling him up if I can, and then trying to get to my side, at least that little bit. See, I've got that little knee tap. He's gonna open his base right there. Now I'm coming back underneath and going for whatever kind of stuff. So let's just take a few minutes figuring out what this is and going side to side with it without really looking to get the full sweep and jerking them around. You can hurt the LCL a lot, the outside ligament of the knee, with people. So don't resist too hard while people are moving you around. Just kind of let it float and walk on your hands there. And the person who's doing the lockdown, careful when you really do that extension hard because you can disconnect the knee, pop the ACL. I've done that before on a guy accidentally, and it just, they were relaxed, and you just shove it down straight, and it causes some separation. So just be careful with that. Okay, just up, over, and down a few times, back and forth each, by pushing that bicep all the way up. You can fall now, so it doesn't hurt you. Right, in that moment before he twists, I'm splitting him really hard, and that's when you can see some of that trouble. Right, but I like to keep my lockdown right here, hook his thigh if I have it, or behind his neck, and I'll pull myself up on top, and I hold this lockdown, and I'm just like, all right, dude.
We'll stay here for a while.
Yeah. This is like a classic thing that Eddie, I learned it straight from him talking to Joe Rogan about that Metamorph snatch. He's like, all right, you're gonna chill out right here, man. You can struggle, you can fight, you can do whatever you want, but we're both gonna rest right here, okay? Because that's what I'm doing.
have to push.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, and then when Holler finally pushed him hard or whatever, Eddie just went, like, all right, cool, no big deal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just took it with him.
So let's use those as our first kind of play right there. We'll get down. And we're going to dig this out from other positions, but I think if we get the big parts first, I'll show you guys like 3 or 4 entries that I like to use that you already know stuff to. It'll make it work a lot better. So I'm going to be on my side, facing towards him. I've got my lockdown. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the underhooks and everything on this, just to make this simple. Okay, if he doesn't whizzer, you're going to go out and take his back. Okay, the same old everyday play that you do. But for now, he's here, and he's trying to be heavy. So I'm going to go up, over. You see, he's trying to stop it. I just block. I could push this further if I want to, but I'm just trying to stop him from coming in. And can you get up to your hand even from there? See, he's giving me the same thing. Right? I'm just worried about you. Can you pull on top of my wrist or my arm or anything?
No, because I'm losing the...
And so then I hook. And then I try to screw in the light bulb. And if he's being a bitch, I stretch my legs. But since he's not, he's going to break down. I roll him over. And I keep this lockdown shelved and just kind of hold him. You don't have to like fuck him up a little bit, but just see what that feels like and let him squirm for a second.
Oh, I can squirm, baby.
Yeah, but then I'm just going to pass right when you start squirming. You can get anything going with double underhooks. If the other person has one of the underhooks, it starts getting a little tougher. Usually the crossbody underhook from them is the one that gets most people smashed. Or you get darced a lot by sticking your head underneath with guys who have like really long arms and different things like that in the heavy like front headlock game. So those are some of the things to kind of worry about. But if you keep your posture the same way, right? This is one of the like principles, I guess, of jiu-jitsu or whatever. One of the things that's always true is if my posture is good, it's going to be hard for them to finish me or hurt me or to catch me in some of these kind of positions. But if I crunch up into this like rounded ball and my chin's all down and stuff, I'm getting neck cranked a bunch of times and stuff like that. So I want to show you guys like a couple of the easy other sweeps that start to exist in here. And literally, man, like it all just starts running together as you're doing it. To me now at this point, it's just like move. And it's like the relationship between where his knee and his foot is and then where my upper body has control on him. So will you get into the like all fours for me real quick, Wesley? So you see a guy like this, and imagine you're on top of him or whatever you're trying to do on the bottom, anything like that. The idea, the term that we use that I was taught, I guess, for it is like candy cane, is candy caning the leg, right? So without doing it with my leg first, this is what I'm doing with my lockdown a lot of times, is I'm manipulating this and I'm forcing him to internally rotate that hip so far that he's about to sit down if I keep doing that, right? And if he doesn't sit down that way, he's gonna kick his leg out straight, like this way, and just almost sit down to the other butt cheek, right? Like that, right? To avoid that kind of pressure. That's essentially what you're doing with your lockdown, okay? Is I'm keeping that kind of pressure on there with my 2-on-1. This is a Kimura, right? Mm-hmm. This is a Kimura for your legs. It's the same setup, okay? I'm going over his leg. So I'm going over his shoulder essentially, right? And connecting. Right, that's this one. Mm-hmm. And then I am connecting my wrist to my wrist and I'm blocking his ankle. Okay, so the same tools can work in both planes. The hips are a lot more powerful for both of us, right? So once I'm in here with him and I pull him up, right? The first thing I see right here is he's not whizzing me So I'm pushing him over and I'm dropping to this. Right? I'm not even holding my lockdown anymore. Can you slide out? No. See what he's starting to do when he slides out? And I pull him across. I catch him in that moment. I'm holding my tight waist, right? I could have a body lock. I could be punching out here or whatever, but I'm curling this leg. And this is basically plan B with my pimp hand strong. Put your leg on the ground. Take that space back, put your leg on the ground. Once I get that space like that, that becomes super easy. Not everybody. Most people feel like they're gonna knee slide out of that. And only the really good guys do it fresh, like, and get away clean with it. Most people leave something behind. They turn their hip down really, really hard. So that's my come up for my dog fight right there too. Right. When I turn that leg, if I'm doing MMA, I'm coming up and I'm trying to wrestle up and get on top right away. So I want you guys to think about using that for a few minutes here. We've already got all these other things. We've already done the electric chair, whatever, right? I want to go straight to this now. See how that's turning the zip? Can you get your knee over the top of my thigh?
No, without cheating.
And see, I can just do this, I can do that. Right, you can whizzer. Are you whizzering me? You can't whizzer me now. Taking this back. I just suspended this leg. Okay. So I want you guys to have your lockdown. Okay. And if he's trying to move or do whatever he's trying to do, he's going to open up some space. If he smacks, oh, that's the worst idea. Right? Because you give all that I want. So imagine this guy's maybe staying really tight with you, even right here. Just open and pull. And the more I pull that, and don't let him, if his knee even comes up on top, that means it's time to go for both of us, right?
Yeah.
If his knee stays down, though, I'm into this. And a lot of times I'll do that. Can you put that knee down? Right? And then I'm just going to come up and keep that same idea for my sweeps. Okay. So all these movements that we're going to see, the sweeps, are going to work off of these different leg configurations. It's just getting control of that bottom half of his leg. From the knee to the ankle, having that foot under my control, that gives me access to his hip, which is the most powerful part of your body. So if I can control the most powerful part of your body, I got you, right? One of your hips is enough, for sure. 2-on-1, just like if I'm riding my Kimuras. I've started thinking about it just like that. It's like, if you break this down, then you may get me. But if you can't break my 2-on-1s easily, I'm just gonna ride the positions around and around and around, okay? And so I'm trying to use the momentum of whatever you're giving more than I'm trying to force snatching, pulling, jerking on your legs and stuff. And so that's why I say the way I say is like, I rarely think about things in the way of, when I do this, I let him do something else and then something happens. When I initiate this, he starts defending himself, and during that process, X, Y, Z are the more typical responses that you see. So we'll focus here more, then we'll see more of the lesser, things, and then this is what the top 5% people may do. And you got to worry about that, right? But it's not what you're going to see the most. So if I come in here and show you the elite of the elite move first, this guy's going to be falling down. He's not even grabbing the whizzer. Why is this not working? He didn't whizzer you, so the whole thing fell apart. You just take their back. So you cut out all the bullshit once you start getting to the fight or whatever, all of it. When I'm with you here. And so this is the thing. Escape and mount. We all know how to elbow knee escape for the most part, right? And like hip escape, right? Bridge up, get to your side, right? And you push this down and then you cut the angle. Right? That's totally great. And then I can still go to my lockdown right off of that even. Or I can take this out here and get to the side and pick it up. And now I've got my lockdown here, and now I'm over right away with that. Okay? So you can get there a bunch of different ways. But you got to think about it in the way of, like I said, it's like maybe I haven't thought it out enough to have the deepest explanation on this way. But these angles, sure, I can take the sharp way to get past that knee, no problem. Or I can just kind of get there, lift it, and then bring everything around over my head where it's really light. But if I do shrimping, you're still always on top of me. Right? I gotta make a little bump or something like that a lot of times at least. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So I want you guys to think about that. Is I'm wanting to be more like circular than straight in and cutting hard angles typically when I play. With all these different things. And so that's what I'm saying. Even with just this body lock, like get away from me. Now you can palm up. Can you palm up? So just making him do all that work, and I'm just kind of hanging on a little bit, right? And then all that, what he's doing to just get me off of him, he's making all these different windows for things to happen. And I'm just hanging on. And if he's strong enough to pick us both up, then we're back on our feet now. I didn't have to technical stand up. I didn't have to frame him off, or push him off, or bridge him off, or any of that really athletic shit. He's trying to get me off of him, and I'm on the bottom. That's what you want for your jiu-jitsu. Okay? You want to make them feel like this dude is attached to me, just like sandbagging everything. And if they want to move, they got to take us both. And if they push back, that's when we're going across to the other side. But if they keep moving away, then they're just going to drag me all the way up to here, and I'm up on my knees in my dogfight kind of place. And if they push back into me and keep smashing, that's where the re-rolls, the plan Bs, the electric chairs, and stuff like that come back into play, the complementary stuff, right? If I'm being aggressive, I'm pushing you towards the dogfight stuff, right? And I'm kind of funneling that the whole way here. When I have this one underhook, I'm definitely trying to funnel things more this way, and I'll even point sometimes to make that happen, right? Because if you're just kind of holding on to it, you're not doing anything. I need to be lifted. And if you're not doing anything, I'm coming out the back door right away, right? But as soon as he grabs that whizzer, now I can't really make that same thing happen, but I can still get him up some, right? And then over. And if you don't let go, there's that one. There's this one, right? Framing them out right here. Framing them out right there. Okay? This is the one that I want to see you guys working on next. We got the whole thing with the electric chair stuff. Once you get them up, from right here, I don't want to go all the way onto the top. I'm going to look away and clear it from here. So look all the way away from it. Instead of bringing it up on my shoulder, I'm going to do like a swim move almost. And I'm going to look the opposite way. And now I'm coming up. And now I've got the same lockdown, but I've got a leg drag also. Lock drag. Sorry. And then now, what's devastating? The vaporizer.
Oh, fuck.
Just turn the calf like it.
Go ahead. I knew you were going to. I knew that was coming.
And that guy's smashing me a lot or whatever. He's being really. See, if he's doing that when he's staying down, that's when I'm going to probably be shooting more of my rubber guard stuff on a guy when he's sitting back. But this guy's being more like chest heavy pressure with me, and I'm going to go Z-guard, shoot, to my underhook. Yeah. And then now I've collected my lockdown or my candy cane. If he's able to defend this and kick it straight somehow, then I'm just going to, that's when I'm lacing. And then now, this is where the whole game starts to develop.
I'm floating.
That's what I'm saying. Right here, I'm waiting though. Like, I'm not, like, oh, you said you don't want to be flat. And it's like, well, yes, but now I can feel that the teeter-totter's on me now, right? So now you went that way. Okay.
Yeah, your hips are altered.
And so now if you push back hard, you're like, I don't want to go that way, Dad. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to go that way. And so now you kick your leg all the way out, and you whizzer. And now we're here. I'm just going to go for, oh, no,
not that.
Toes. Old school. Oh, he tried to kick his toes down or whatever. He sprawls. I can get under there. Try to hook that. Right? All the way up and over again. All right, if he kicks it away from me too hard right here, he sprawl down, keep it away. Lift that because he didn't whizzer me. So like you keep going through those things. Anytime I feel he lets go of that wizard, I'm probably trying to get back out to the side and start throwing him back. He better wizard. He better. If he doesn't, you start going for the back. When he wizards, we stop. We try to bring him back to the other side. Hit those other kind of plans off of that. So those are my main entries. Is when someone's like obviously on top mount, I dig it out from there a lot, and I like to dig it out like from that Z guard kind of position because with that Z, like I said, it gives me the option to go back and forth between like that here with Z guard shooting to where I get the underhook, and then a Z guard shoot where I don't get the underhook, and I've got my overhook plays in there too now. Okay, so now if he starts to posture really heavy and come back up, ooh, whatever. Setting that lace, you try to smash me coming down. I gotta get this up. Now I got my body locked. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna go down and do the butt compressor for lockdown. You're gonna smash. And it's like, okay, go for it, bro. Keep smashing. I'm gonna make him do it too. Like he's going. Throwing it right up from there now. Hugging it. Yeah. So that's some of the stuff we'll go into tomorrow morning. I'm looking at those rubber guard connections a little bit and how that can tie in with the upper lower body stuff, man. There's so many easy ways that you can think about stuff like that, right? For the lockdown or the rubber guard. You know, if his head's down on my lap, it's easier to get my knees up around his head. If his chest is up in my face, it's easier to attack his legs. If he's down on his knees, it's easier to triangle, armbar, omoplata, all that stuff in. Once he stands up, it's easier to attack leg, get into ashi, off balance, X guard, single leg, and stuff like that, right? So you just think about the relationship between his posture and where you are. Like if he's up here, we got these. If he's up here, we got these. If he's on his back, it's still the same thing. Now his feet are in front of you this way, right? Your person can only do so many things with their body. Gravity and the plane that we're on determines a lot of that, right? But all the moves work every top and bottom. Mount is just closed guard, upside down, right? And half guard flip over is just half guard.
Yeah.
Right, I was just saying, it's just such a funny thing. It's like everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna force the half guard because I can just. That's my game, you know. And I do that too. And then the other guy's like, well, then I have my game also, and I'm halfway to everything I want as well. Now I don't want to go to his full guard because he's got so many more choices there than he does in his half guard. Even though half guard is already half out or half past. How do you see it? You know what I mean? So that's the thing. And if somebody's got you smashed and you're flat on your back, lockdown is not going to work by itself, but manipulating their base with that candy cane idea, turning their feet out, making them move their knees, internal, external rotation, that makes them change their base. They can't have all their weight on your upper body and your lower body at the same time. They can't, right? So if you can't move them, then we need to move ourselves. Right? So if I'm able to move him easily, that's what I'll just do. I'll pick him up, I'll set him over here, and da. But if he's not moving, that's when I'm opening up, candy caning or whatever, and coming out myself. Okay? So there's never a time that something shouldn't be able to be done. Right? Either I can move you or I can move me. Unless he's just somehow got you just pinned in a way that you can't move. And that, for me, I only think that exists if I'm exhausted. I don't think that there's a place that exists if I'm not just physically exhausted that I can't do something to move to another. So just think about those things like that for me. Y'all got any questions about the lockdown stuff?